Right now at noon, how high is Oklahoma willing to voters take to the polls next Tuesday to decide the future of marijuana in the state?
And we're looking cloudy, but still another spring-like day for us temperature-wise. Not as warm as yesterday. We'll talk about how long these temperatures last and the big changes coming up.
The fentanyl overdose crisis is front and center on Capitol Hill as parents and activists use their voices to demand action.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A big decision for the state of Oklahoma, legalizing marijuana and not just for medicinal use. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes. Next Tuesday, Oklahoma voters head to the polls to decide whether to legalize recreational marijuana in the state. Now, currently, marijuana is legal in Oklahoma only for medicinal use. Last night, the city of Miami set up a town hall style meeting to give residents a chance to learn more about the proposal. It featured a 6-person panel with people on both sides of the issue, including local physicians and law enforcement members. Supporters include the operator of a dispensary, but some opponents believe the wording of the proposal leaves too many questions unanswered.
Maybe if we can work on it a little bit better, maybe if our legislators are willing to talk with us and answer some financial questions and how it's written, and that would be a better start. But I feel like I'm a no.
People able to try it out on recreational first to decide if they want to get their medical card for something a little stronger to get off opioids or something like that. I mean, that's what we're in it for.
That election is next Tuesday, March the 7th. Well, March 1st, that's today, is the beginning of Missouri's catch and keep trout season. It's been called the unofficial start of spring. There are events all over in state parks, but one city park also participates in trout fishing, and that's Neosho at Morse Park. This is their 4th year, but even before then, it was a long time in planning and clearing the banks of Hickory Creek to make it accessible.
We spent a lot of time opening up the banks in the creek area, moving a lot of brush and debris out of the way so anglers could get down there and fly fish and utilize this creek. There's great fishing spots up and down the creek. It is stocked monthly.
Well, if you plan on fishing, you need to have a Missouri fishing license and a daily trout tag, and you can find a link with details on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. According to our meteorologist, though, today is the first day of spring. Isn't that right, Chris?
That's right. It is the meteorological start of spring, and we have been starting this on a spring-like note. However, we've got alert days as we head into Thursday and Friday. So we're watching thunderstorm chances, bringing heavy rains, and we do have some flood watches out there. Right now, we are cloudy at 7th and Range Line, and just straight up, we've seen a few peaks of sun here and there, but nothing really nice like what we saw yesterday. Mostly cloudy skies also on the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line. So here's a look at those flood watches. Berry, McDonald, Delaware, and Benton counties. They kick in officially tonight and then run through noon on Friday. And then in the very southern edge of Delaware County, you can see just a tiny mark there. There is also a flood warning already in place. And there's been an update to the storm report. So you remember the storms we got Monday. We ended up having a couple of confirmed tornadoes in Dade and Cedar counties. And then today, a National Weather Service survey team has confirmed that an EF1 tornado touched down, as you can see, just to the south and west of Crowder College. And in their report, they had winds of 105 miles an hour, damaged or destroyed more than 10 outbuildings, and there was debris visible where it had crossed I-49. It didn't have a very long path. It was only about 200 yards wide, but nonetheless, there was a confirmed tornado. Started out yesterday at 43, making it up to 74. We're not quite like that today, where it's 54 Iola, 58 Parsons, Chatopa, Miami, 57 Neosho, 55 in Carthage, and 56 in Joplin. Real quick, here's what we're looking at. We got the cloudy skies this afternoon. We'll have some clear skies briefly tonight, and then we've got heavy rains and flooding concerns as we're heading into Thursday and Friday, and we might still see some light snow Sunday morning. We'll take a look at all of that here in just a few minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, springtime means storm season here in the 4 states, and with the spring season approaching, Joplin schools want to remind area residents community safe rooms are open at several locations throughout the district, and they're open when there are tornado warnings or when tornado sirens are activated. Now, if warnings or sirens happen during school hours, students and staff get priority for safe room occupancy.
If we think that there's going to be an imminent tornado warning in the area, we have a procedure that we're able to activate the safe rooms throughout the district.
Well, the district says while all school buildings in the district include safe rooms for students and staff, not all are equipped as community safe rooms, and those are Dover Hill, Roy Wood, Joplin Early Childhood, and East, North, and South Middle Schools. We've posted a complete list of community safe room schools on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. In Nation Watch, a House hearing looking into the fentanyl crisis in the U.S. comes with some emotional testimony from people who have lost loved ones to the drug. But in this sharply divided Congress, the potential solutions to the problem fell along political lines. Nicole D'Antonio has more details from Capitol Hill.
Congressional members listened intently as Erin Rockwell described the pain of losing her 19-year-old son Logan to a drug overdose.
Losing Logan was like a bomb going off in the middle of our family that we had built our life around. This explosion killed our son, and he killed Caden's brother. This bomb, this weapon is called fentanyl.
Fentanyl has become the leading cause of death for Americans ages 18 to 45, according to the CDC. And most of the drugs enter the U.S. through the southern border.
The cartels in Mexico have evolved quickly, from drug cartels to transnational criminals to now terrorists like we've never seen ever. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hezbollah, they're not killing this amount of Americans.
While politicians on both sides of the aisle agree there needs to be stronger policies to stem the flow of fentanyl into the U.S., the solutions have become very political. Republicans are using the crisis to say more needs to be done to strengthen the border.
To ignore the smuggling that occurs between our ports of entry is simply irresponsible and dangerous.
While Democrats say immigrants are not the problem.
While it is true that a great deal of fentanyl comes into the United States from Mexico, it is overwhelmingly U.S. citizens, not migrants, who are bringing it in.
But Erin Rockwell had a message for both sides.
United we stand, divided we fall. United we stand, divided we fall.
Meanwhile, the CDC says more than 100,000 Americans die from opioid overdoses every year. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
There was also plenty of discussion about the U.S. policy with China, where the majority of components for fentanyl are made. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at Noon, what's next for the tens of millions of Americans after pandemic-era SNAP benefits end today? And later, we're making Alabama firecrackers in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Well, starting today, more than 30 million Americans who rely on federal help to buy food will no longer receive extra pandemic-era benefits. Low-income families in more than 30 states who take part in SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, will see their monthly benefits cut. Now, this comes as food costs are rising. Nancy Chen spoke to some people about what this means for them.
Do you think you'll be visiting more food banks like this?
Oh, yes.
As boost to SNAP benefits end, retired airline service agent George Capella says he's now left figuring out how to put food on the table.
You have to make up for it somewhere, and hopefully you can.
The additional assistance went into effect about 3 years ago during the pandemic and helped keep 4.2 million Americans out of poverty. But starting today, some 30 million people relying on the federal food stamp program will see their monthly benefits shrink by at least $95 and potentially more than $250 for others.
We anticipate a really significant uptick in the number of people who are going to visit us in the coming weeks.
Leslie Gordon is the president and CEO of Food Bank for New York City and says families already have few options, with food prices climbing more than 11% from just a year ago.
I never thought in my wildest dreams that we would see an increase of almost double the amount of people who are visiting our agency partners on the ground for food.
Food banks across the country are bracing for the increased demand, from Indiana to Texas to California. In Seattle, Leticia Brito says she and her son may soon not have enough food.
What is really worrying me right now is having a cut down on the food that I'm gonna have to buy so I can have enough money to pay my rent.
To help offset costs, experts recommend reaching out to your state human services agency and claiming all allowable deductions. Also, look into the Women, Infants, and Children program, or WIC. Anti-hunger advocates say it's an underutilized program that SNAP recipients automatically qualify for. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
Well, still to come on the KOAM News at Noon, Mr. Food.
We've got the perfect thing to serve on a cheese board with chili or simply to eat as is. What could it be? Stick around. It's coming up next.
We've got alert days heading into Thursday and Friday for flooding concerns across part of the area. We'll take a look at all of that coming up. Welcome back to KOAM News at Noon. We have got another pretty decent day for us. We're cloudier today. We're not as warm as we were yesterday, but quite mild. And as mentioned earlier, it is the meteorological first day of spring, while the official first day of spring is still a ways away. However, we have a couple of alert days in our forecast for Thursday and Friday as we're watching thunderstorms with heavy rain. We've already got some flood watches in place across the region. So let's take a look at those first. Here's the flood watches. Delaware, Benton, McDonald, Berry counties until noon. These officially start tomorrow evening and then again run till noon Friday. And then just a wee bit of Delaware County, there's a flood warning, which this one's very specific until Saturday at 2:06. And this is for the Illinois River near Watts. So already getting some concerns out there as that river is expected to crest at 16 feet, and right now it's at 5. Here's a look at what we're looking at in terms of rain. We've got rain for everybody. We're all going to get in on this rain action, but along and south of I-44 is where we could see some of those higher amounts of rain in excess of 2 inches. On top of that, there may be a stray rumble of thunder or two way far south here today. I don't think we're really going to see much of anything. Tomorrow, though, this dark green area, which has not really changed since this morning, right along and south of I-44, we could see a strong storm or two. We're not looking at widespread severe weather, anything like what we saw Monday, but there may be a stronger storm or two that produces maybe some small hail and some gusty winds. So here's what's taking place. We got the clouds. As we go into the overnight, we get a break in the clouds briefly before they start to return as we head into Thursday morning. As we go through the morning, we'll see a few stray showers, maybe a rumble of thunder into the early afternoon. And then as we head into the evening, say around 5, 6 o'clock, we'll start to see more shower and thunderstorm activity build into the area. And take a look at 6, where the biggest concentration is, right along and south of I-44. Rain continues to overspread the area, but as mentioned, the heaviest precipitation is going to be right where these flood advisories are. Now, as we go into early Friday morning, say between midnight and 1 a.m., there's a brief pause, a little dry slot that forms before additional showers and thunderstorms begin to roll through the area as we head into early Friday morning. Now, the good news is, one thing we have been talking about is that snow potential, and as you see, it's dwindled significantly. We're not looking at much in terms of wintry weather Friday morning. Could be some light snow, shouldn't add up to much, and then we're going to be warm immediately following that. 7th and Range Line, we are cloudy out there. We've seen a few peaks of sun here and there, but really not all that much. And at 20th and Range Line, MoDOT camera there, traffic flowing nicely, but flowing nicely under cloudy skies. Back to our current conditions. Here's what we're looking at. We're at 56 in Joplin with a north breeze at 14. I went out earlier and boy, that breeze was chilly. Across the area, here's what we're looking at. 54 Iola, 58 Parsons, Chautauqua, Miami, 57 Neosho. That's sitting at 55 in Carthage. Still looking at a high of about 62 degrees. Forgot to take that windy off. The winds have calmed down. We're just going to be cloudy through the afternoon and into the early evening hours. We'll see that brief clearing for a bit and eventually drop back down to a pretty chilly 41 degrees for our overnight low. So let's take a look at the 7-day. Alert days again, tomorrow and Friday. We're keeping an eye on that for you. Then as we head into Saturday, maybe a shower, but we start to warm up. A pretty decent Sunday for us. Still mild temperatures, 70 Monday, 60 next Tuesday with some additional shower chances out there. So the next several days honestly don't look too bad in terms of temperatures. We've just got some storms, some heavy rain, and some flooding concerns that we're keeping an eye on as we head into tomorrow night.
Yeah, it seems like it could be a pretty wet next 7 days.
Yeah, we need the rain. It's just unfortunately as we head into tomorrow, we're getting a little too much too quickly. So for those folks in those flood-prone areas, if you are aware of where those are, you need to make sure that you are planning your commute and your evening and your Friday morning appropriately.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Chris. Well, stick around. We're making Alabama firecrackers after the break. Well, if you're looking for an easy throw-together snack recipe, look no further. Today, Howard shows us how to make his Alabama firecrackers in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
If you've ever had Alabama firecrackers, then you know what all the hullabaloo is about. These crazy popular saltines are so addictive and so simple to make that we've included a version of them in our Ultimate Recipes Across America cookbook. To make them, all you have to do is place some ranch dressing mix in a resealable plastic storage bag, along with a bit of crushed red pepper, garlic and onion powder, and a little vegetable oil. Now we mix this well, add in a couple of sleeves of saltine crackers, and shake it up. By the way, make sure you shake the bag gently so you don't break up the crackers or you'll end up with Alabama firecracker crumbs. Also, locals will tell you to let the crackers sit overnight so that all the flavors really soak in. If you make a big batch today, you can have them on hand whenever you need something surprisingly good. And although they're the perfect go along with soups and chili, I like them best on their own, as a snack. To get the recipe for our Alabama firecrackers, all you have to do is go online. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a snackable Southern way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Well, you can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. And here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
All right, still looking at 62 today, mostly cloudy skies, alert days Thursday and Friday for heavy rain and flooding concerns. And then we're staying mild all the way through Tuesday, some showers Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday, but otherwise not bad temperatures. We just got to watch out for those flooding concerns as we head into Thursday night and Friday morning across the area.
All right, what do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, there's a new alarming trend in the battle against colorectal cancer. In Health Watch, we're going to meet a woman who learned she had stage 4 colon cancer at just 44 years old. Plus, the Caney Valley, Kansas Historical Society teams up with a future Eagle Scout to restore history. And fishermen young and old line the banks of Roaring River for the first day of trout season. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dal. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.